Yo, what's up, folks? This is Jay the Great here, and as you can tell by the title, we're back with another debate. It's been quite some time. This one's live in the Discord, so if you ever want to be part of these live, join my Discord. The link's in the description below. But as you can tell by the title, we have a very controversial topic that will be debated today. Probably not just in the debate community, but in modern society at large. This community is quite talked about in both negative and positive ways. So today's topic is the red pill community toxic? Right? So my stance is no, it's not. And returning debater Alexa is yes, it is. But yeah, you guys know how it goes. We both give arguments and we'll see who comes out on top. So Alexa, you want to go first? Ladies
No,
first?
you can go first.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go first. Go ahead.
So, my opening argument. I think it's important to first assess what the red pill community exactly is, because I think the majority of people seem to misunderstand what the red pill community is and what message it is attempting to relay to men. So, essentially, anyone that consistently attempts to advise and guide men to self improvement can be said to be part of the red pill community. Hence, the primary goal of the red pill community is essentially male self improvement. Right, so it is clear that this community has been heavily misrepresented due to mainstream platforms presenting fallacious arguments, with the most common clearly being an appeal to emotion. While admittedly the red pill community tends to relay its message in a brutally honest way, it still does not negate the fact that it is with good intentions, nor does it change the message that is being relayed to men all around the world. So a clear appeal to emotion takes place when women or men, anyone, see red pill advocates encouraging men to have standards, which leads to these women and even some men strawmanning the presented argument to discredit the red pill community at large because of how it makes them feel. Unfortunately, facts don't care about your feelings. So, for example, this is an analogy. Whether I say the sky is blue or the sky is fucking blue, that doesn't change the primary purpose of such a statement, despite the tone and form of message relayed. So, I already know what the most common argument is. So, claiming the red pill community is toxic due to how it makes you feel is fallacious and illogical, which I must point out because the vast majority of people that are against it simply say it is toxic because of how they feel, which is an appeal to emotion, which is a logical fallacy, meaning it is logically unsound. So, although no ideology is perfect from a logical standpoint, this specific paradigm of living is one of the most optimal in terms of probability of success in life from an empirical standpoint. And I will get more into that further when you start to try to counter my claims. So, essentially, this is a great example of pragmatism and practicality versus the other side, which is idealism and emotion, which isn't logically sound. So, that's my opening argument if you want to counter it, or if you have your own.
Okay, so I'm gonna counter it. So I feel like anything that you do, anything that has to do with improving anybody, whether it's men, women, a certain type of movement that's going on, um, there's always good intentions behind it. So I understand the intention of motivating men, getting men to do better, wanting to do better, because yeah, there's men out there who have kind of given up on certain things in their life. However, just like I told you previously, the issue is the men now taking the message and broadcasting it, and it's turning into a man versus woman thing. And so just based off some of the things, I took some time on my own to kind of go in and deep dive and see what the difference in opinion is, and just to see the difference between what a man, it's like men have now have this hostility towards women that women should do this, women should do that, when in reality that's, like you said before, that's not the purpose of the movement. So I feel like, granted, yeah, it may have some initial pure intentions to help and motivate men to, like I said, to do better. The way it's being broadcasted on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, it's turning into this very like just aggressive cycle of wanting to target women, making it seem like, oh, if you're going to be with me, this is what you're going to have to do, when really that's bullshit in my opinion. So therefore it becomes toxic. It teaches men a poor way to present themselves and a poor way to treat women. And yeah, there's some other, maybe some good advice when it comes to your finances, when it comes to your own personal fitness career, but it's the mainly because that's what we see on social media now. It's their opinion on women, how to treat women, how to get the perfect girl, that is really putting men versus women at odds, but giving men this skewed perspective of what it means to be in a committed relationship, what it means to start a family. So therefore, it becomes a very, very toxic toxic environment, toxic thing to be around, and just to expect women and to expect anybody to be like okay without having a difference in opinion to me is just odd. And I feel like it's eventually going to hurt a man more than it helps a man because then a man wonders, well, why doesn't nobody want to be with me? I'm listening to everything, as for example, Andrew Tate's telling me, and nobody still wants to be with me. So there you go. That's my opening counter argument.
Okay, well, to dissect that proposition, I can right away just extrapolate the rhetoric you used to put your deduction into question. There was, I feel like, my opinion, that's bullshit. So I can already presuppose this premise is coming from your emotions rather than a logical deduction. So there's that to already kind of poke holes into your foundation as far as your premise. And now I guess I should ask you to elaborate on what exactly, even though I could already classify it as a logical fallacy as far as your argument, what exactly gave you these, caused you to lead to these claims, like the message that's being relayed is causing men to pit themselves against women? Like, what exactly was said for you to come to that conclusion, and why?
Well, I mean, just based off, I mean, yeah, I mean, I feel like, well, just first what you said is like, oh, it's emotion. Of course, it's emotion. It's women wanting to defend ourselves and saying, hey, for example, let's just use like some of the things that we've talked about in the past, like saying, if someone's gonna be in a relationship, right, a man and a woman,
Mm-hmm.
you're not allowed to do this, this, and that. That's what has been broadcasted a lot. It hasn't been, anything like I'm not calling people out, but the biggest thing is if you're gonna be in a relationship with me, theoretically saying, as I'm a man speaking, I expect you to do this, do that, do this, do that, and nothing else. You can't go out with your friends. You can't do this. And to me, that's just like a foul way of that's the first foul way of thinking because most of these relationships, most of these people broadcasting that message are very, very young. Yeah, granted, there's older people, late 30s, early 40s that are kind of speaking on this, but in reality, it's like why all of a sudden do women have so many restrictions in a relationship, but a man can do whatever they want? Therefore, it becomes harder for either one to find a relationship because now there's this huge feminine movement saying, well, I'm not going to deal with that. I'm not going to deal with that. Then you also have the man going, well, if she does that, she's a whore. She's this. So it's a constant like, okay, I'm not going to deal with that. But since I'm doing that now, I'm getting called these things. So
All
that's
right.
what I'm saying. That's why it's an emotional thing because if you could, I mean, I can go out to the club and 85 people can call me a whore, but if I'm not a whore, then I'm a whore. Just because I go out to the club and even though my boyfriend doesn't want me to, doesn't mean I'm a whore. There's so many things that are broadcasted, preached, and put on women that's like sometimes it's a little excessive. People are totally entitled to their own opinions, but there's also wait, you have to respect a woman. Women have, regardless of how women feel, regardless of what women say, we are raised and taught that women need to be respected. Women shouldn't be, name called. Women shouldn't be talked down to. Granted, like I've told you before, women can get pretty disrespectful, but it's important for a man to always control his emotions, unfortunately, because that's the way society is, and not get to that same level because what's going to happen is the man's going to look like the bad guy, unfortunately. But I'm just
All
saying
right.
that my main thing is just the things like the some of the things that have been said, like especially with the biggest platform, TikTok is a huge platform right now. Video after video, woman versus man. Oh well, he's saying this. That's effed up. That you're this, you're that. It's just a constant back and forth.
All right. So again, I'll dissect that one and point out two logical fallacies. Again, appeal to emotion was consistent in that logical, well, fallaciously logical deduction, and then I would also say an appeal to ignorance. So first off, let me start out by stating the red pill community is a paradigm not just on relationships but on life in general. So what you did is a perfect example of what a lot of women and simp men like to do. Well, I shouldn't use ad hominem, so I'm just going to say men, so I could stay professional in this debate. But you gave a perfect example of what they do mostly. They nitpick a specific statement and they try to paint it in the most evil of light. And the red pill community at large is are many, many messages, not just simply, oh, you should put your woman on check. Right? That's not the only message that is relayed. It's a whole paradigm on how to live your entire life in many aspects, from relationships to your professional career to your fitness, etc. So I'm going to prove why the red pill community is a much better ideology or paradigm to live off compared to modern feminism, or at least my perception of it. So I'm going to prove why. So here we go. So this community strives to help set men have the best chances of success, not based on my opinion, but from empirical and a practical approach, right? Because let me elaborate further. Where is it? There is a gem that I had. So let me let me refute your statement of, oh, it matters how people relay their message. Not necessarily. So here's an argument for that, against that. Humans inherently dislike and avoid discomfort, right? We can all agree with that. None of us want to go to the gym. None of us want to go to our 9 to 5. We all want to avoid discomfort as much as possible and only do what we have to do, right? So this inherently produces lack of productivity, right? A decrease in productivity, a decrease in ambition, unfortunately, which is why 50% of the U.S. population is on prescription medication. 42% of the population is obese. This all illuminates that humans just inherently avoid discomfort and pain, right? So the red pill community is essentially fighting fire with fire. And let me explain why that is. So we're introducing a new kind of discomfort, which is known as brutal honesty and the unflattering truth, right? So essentially the red pill community relays its message by being brutally honest in hopes that it will enlighten you and fuel you to fix your flaws as a man. So essentially, these brutally honest ways saying, oh, you're fat as fuck, you're broke as shit, is to light your fire, right? It's to light your ambition and to cause you to become a hyper productive male, which is the key variable in the end product being a highly successful, fulfilling life, right? So feminism, or let me shit on that a little bit. Feminism is all about sensitivity and protecting people's feelings, right? So, for example, a woman's overweight, and you relay this message, oh, you should love your curves. But empirically speaking, she's unhealthy, and she has a more higher probability from an empirical standpoint, despite your or my opinion, on dying sooner from several illnesses, diabetes, right? Arteries clogging up, you name it, probably cancer, everything as far as illness rises empirically speaking, despite our opinion. The red pill community removes that from the equation. I can't say entirely because that would be fallacious. Everyone has their bias. It's embedded in us all. But I would say the red pill community's ideology removes that fallacy to quite a good extent, I would argue. So basically, their whole ideology is live a pragmatic and practical life. When it comes to women, so let's start there. The abundance mindset. People look at that from an emotional lens and say, wow, you're a fucking pig, you're a piece of shit. But empirically speaking, the statistics of your success rate go up because why? You have an abundance mindset. You don't just focus on one girl, right? You have several options. More options means a higher rate of success. Now, fitness. Fitness is pretty obvious. I don't think you should be a red pill to want to go to the fucking gym. That raises everything as far as your physical well-being, increases, and not just in an extrinsic sense, but in an intrinsic sense as well, right? Your confidence, your ambition, your strive to continue onward in every aspect improves as well. And that's from an empirical standpoint as well, right? Take a fat guy and take a guy that's in shape. Who do you think's doing better in life for the most part on a balance of probabilities? The guy that's in shape, let's be honest here. So there's that as well. And then money-wise, people always argue against the red pill community and say, oh, that's so superficial. That's so fucked up. Money makes the world go around whether you like it or not. Money makes the world go around. And does money buy happiness? I mean, that's it. That's a whole different tangent I don't want to go on. But essentially, it makes your life better, empirically speaking, up to a certain point. I think the statistics is around 90,000. Once you make 90,000 or more, your happiness doesn't really increase statistically. So, but the point is, all these things matter. And the red pill community gives you an equation or a formula to improve in all those aspects, which will, empirically speaking, improve your life, despite how we feel about it, despite how the message is relayed, despite anything as far as our subjective lens. That's from an empirical standpoint. So I don't know if you want to counter that with facts, but
so facts. The fitness thing, right? The fitness thing and the financial thing is what I said at the beginning. That is the original. That is the main focus.
and the
The main
women,
purpose. What do you mean?
the
Oh
women,
yeah,
all those aspects are primary
well,
focus.
of the red pill community. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, all of it. Basically,
Okay, so I'm
anything that
saying
comes to self improvement would be a main focus. So
okay. So you basically okay, but what I'm saying the financial thing, the fitness thing. That's all. Like, I totally get that part. Like, I'm not even gonna debate that. Like, that should be, you're right. You don't have to be in the red pill community to want to go to the gym. Everyone should want a better life, be healthier. It definitely should, because it is becoming a problem these days. People are unhealthy left and right. However, what gives you as a man to comment to a woman saying, "Hey, I don't like you because you're fat"? That's my opinion. When she didn't ask for it. So what gives you or any man that follows that agenda the right to sit there and comment on a female's body? What
I would say
why is that?
you're kind of straw manning and red herring the topic at
That's but that's
hand.
that's that's what it is though, because
No, not
I could share a
essentially.
video right now
You're
that
narrowing
says
down the message to just that specific
no,
point
but
that
it is right
appeal
there.
to you emotionally. That's not the
Especially
whole paradigm.
at
That's a
the end of the day,
specific
like especially the
example.
impact that it has on younger men. I've seen so many things online saying, "Well, if this is the main thing right now is plus size women live rent free in the red pill community's head because you have so many opinions on it. You're unhealthy. You're on this. Take care of yourself." However, when that it's trickling down into younger men who are going on publicly posting saying, "Oh, she's fat. She's a red flag." What gives you guys the right to make those comments though? Then just don't fucking talk to her. Leave her alone. I'm
I mean,
pretty sure she knows that she's a bigger girl.
I can get into that specific, but I think it's a red herring because it's not on
Mm,
their specific topic.
well, it is on a specific topic because that's one of the main things that are coming out of the red pill community.
I
There's so
disagree.
many female creators that are specifically responding to or debating men commenting on a female's body. But
The
holding your
most
female accountable, you said it before in a previous debate, was like, oh, if she's gaining weight or she's this, I'm going to hold her accountable. You said that in our first
you
debate.
should you should
No, you shouldn't.
yeah
Are
you
you a
should
parent?
because that means that she isn't doing her duty as a woman because people don't understand relationships are a duty at a certain point, especially if they're
So my
long
duty
term.
as a woman is to look good for you.
So if I'm in shape, this is an example. If I'm in shape, making $1 million, providing, protecting, serving you, and you get fat as fuck, do you think that's fair to me? Are you accomplishing your
Mm,
duty by being a
but
fat,
instead of saying,
nasty
hey,
ass,
like,
like, okay, I shouldn't use that happenings, but to be fat and obese, empirically speaking, you think that's fair?
no, I'm not saying that. That's then to say, hey, I'm not want to do this no more because I don't want to do this no more. But at the end of the day, if you
Okay,
really
what if
love
she
that
asks why?
person,
What if she asks why? Am I supposed to lie
just
to
say
her and say love your
no. Say I
curves?
just
That's a lie.
no. I would say, hey, at this point, like I'm no longer attracted to you. But then to go and do that because you're overweight, if you
I mean,
really
that's the
do love that
truth.
person, and instead of cutting them off, saying, hey, you know what? How about me and you go to the gym
That's
together,
the red
or
pills
how about me and
community.
you?
The whole point of the red pill community is to negate sensitivity and emotion. Emotion does not bring empirical success. That's the point. The feminists are like protect their feelings. Like that's all fallacious. It's all an appeal to emotion. It's it's killing logic. That's why I always say the entity known as logic and deduction is dying because of oversensitive, soft, and just weak
Oversensitive. It's not
mindset.
oversensitive. It's rude. It's a form of bullying on people who don't
Again, this
even
is the idea
ask to
of
be bullied.
fighting fire with fire. Why is that girl fat? Because she's too lazy to go to the gym. Why is she lazy to go to the gym? She doesn't want to go through that pain. How
That's
do you fight that? Fight pain with pain. Now she's in pain. It feels bad. That's going to motivate her
you're
to
assuming the
improve
only
her
reason why a
life
plus size woman
and extend her
does.
life.
So you're saying the only
Not
reason
just
why
women,
a
men too.
plus size woman doesn't want to go to the gym is because she just doesn't want to.
Plus size. Let's say how
And
obese.
plus size is the more kinder way to say it.
It's not the medical one though.
Okay, plus size. When you're saying the only reason why a plus size woman doesn't want to go to the gym is because she's lazy.
Either way, this tangent is a red herring.
Are you saying that all skinny people across the world are healthier than a plus size person?
I mean,
Don't skinny
that's
people get
a
diabetes too?
That's a hasty
You
generalization because we're talking about bounce of probabilities. We're
you
not
just made
talking
that
about
statement. You
all.
said, well, diabetes or this that or diabetes this that or arteries. So skinny
Statistically
people don't get
speaking,
diabetes.
fat people have a higher chance of that than skinny people. That's statistically proven too.
Mm,
We can look
are you
that
sure
up if you
about
want.
that?
Yeah, I'm sure about that.
I know a few famous celebrities who have diabetes who are
I
very
mean, that's
skinny.
anecdotal. That's an exception to the rule.
That's just whole. That's
That doesn't
exactly
prove
right
the
there.
general trend though.
That's exactly why it becomes toxic. You could have your preference. You could have your
Toxic
opinion.
because of how you feel
No,
when
I
you're
said you could
unhealthy,
have.
empirically
It's
speaking.
toxic. It's a
I'd rather have my feelings hurt than have a
right. There's
chance of
nothing
dying
wrong.
early.
There's nothing wrong with being honest with somebody, saying, "Hey, this is how I'm feeling. Let me help you improve it." But where it becomes toxic is these men who are not even close to being able to say, I've made it, therefore I can choose to speak that way, are pushing those agendas on women. Sorry, I'm not going to listen to somebody who works at fucking 7-Eleven about my body. I'm just not doing that.
You shouldn't have to.
That's where
It's not about
that's where
listening. It's about getting healthy. That's the point. If
but
your
if
ego
women are
doesn't
going to
allow
be
you to get healthy from a medical standpoint, then that's your problem. But the whole red pill
but that's
community,
you go there,
the
you're
whole
making
point,
assumption that
the whole pill,
everyone who's
the whole point of the red pill community is to live a more pragmatic and practical life, despite how you feel.
so
That's the
do
whole
you think
point.
every single man who's preached the red pill community is doing that 100% to the core?
I
Is
mean, that's
100% sticking to it? Saying everything that, say, for example, we say Andrew Tate is the main person of the red pill community. Do you think that every single person who has a podcast or speaks about it, who is a man, is doing it the right way?
I mean, that's a fallacious argument because we're talking
But are
about.
they?
No, that's fallacious.
No, it's not fallacious.
Because
It's
it's not
real.
about all. There is no such thing as 100% and almost any statistical evidence because because the world's an imperfect place. The point is the red pill community is trying to make as many men as possible live a more pragmatic and practical life, despite how people feel about it. That's the point.
So then any man can go off and tell any woman what to do or
I mean,
what.
straw
I'm
manning
not
my
going to be with
argument. That's not
you.
the. I never
But that's
asserted
what
that.
that's the problem. That's why it becomes toxic then, because men who have literally should have no business saying anything if they're not even as close to somebody who maybe who probably has a lot of money, probably does get a lot of women, should be not just be quiet, right? Oh, you're not going to be with me unless you lose weight. Okay, who the fuck are you to tell me anything?
I mean, again, this
And
is
then
an
that's like,
appeal to emotion and
well, because
and
there's
a
no,
red herring.
it's not a factual thing. Because how many men have you interviewed prior to this debate who said, yeah, the red pill community has saved my life?
I mean, we can look
Like,
at the statistical streams and numbers of the biggest red pill advocates on the planet. They have millions, some
that's
have tens of millions. That's enough statistical evidence for me.
tens of
I don't
millions
have
of
to interview
followers
each
or
one.
tens of millions of factual saying, hey, this is the reason why I've done better.
How about this? From a rational perspective, who do you think is doing better in life? The followers of someone like Andrew Tate or the followers of some dumbass feminist on TikTok? Who's doing better in life on a balance of probabilities? If we had to pick from a hat and pick a
That's
card, who
that's
would be
not
doing
that's
better?
not a
Well, that's a
I'm not saying
perfect
that's not
example.
a no, it's not a perfect example because you know how many people I follow just because I like what they
Because you know
post.
the answer
I
to
don't
the
post
question.
something. No, because somebody I'm saying I don't post things based off how I feel about them. If they're funny, if they
Because you're
post
saying
something this,
because
I'm gonna follow because I watch them. I even follow the podcast because I want to
you're
consistently see.
with your premise, you're implying that the red pill community, despite them being followers, that most of them aren't doing well, even though they're constantly watching content that's relaying to them to do better. So I'm asking you, who do you think is doing better? If we had a card, we had a bucket, and let's say we had cards with people names on them, a bunch from some dumbass feminist on
Wait,
TikTok.
hooking up. Pause. You're breaking really bad.
Is that better?
Can you say it again?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but you're still breaking up.
How about now?
Yeah, you're good.
You
It
hear me
hasn't
good
broken
now?
up yet. Yeah, I can hear you.
So if
Okay, repeat what you said.
we have a bucket and let's mix in a bunch of people's names that follow some feminists on TikTok and mix a bunch of people's names that follow one of the top red pill advocates. If we pick if who from those two pools, right? If we picked a name has a better probability of doing good in their life currently, based off those two paradigms, because feminism is a paradigm as well, on how to live your
Okay, so you
life and
think
how to.
every single one of those
No,
followers?
that's not what I'm implying. I'm saying there's
Neither, because
much better.
if you're wanting, if I live my life based off the way somebody else tells me that I'm gonna listen to this person because I don't know what to do. Then am I really doing good for myself? Am I really being true to who
Here's
I
a good
am?
way to counter that. So if a doctor gives you medical advice, you're not going to listen.
That's red pill ain't no doctor though. Of course, I'm gonna listen to a doctor. That's two different things.
Okay,
That's
so why is that?
two different examples.
No, it's not too different because the information they're giving you, empirically speaking, gives you a higher rate of success, right? Whether it's medication that's going to cure you or something of that nature. The red pill community, and I'm not going to let people red hair my argument. I'm not saying that everyone in the red pill community is a expert in some field, but I'm saying the paradigm of the red pill community is to live a practical and pragmatic life, which increases your chances of success from an empirical sense. So let's say that you're fat and you're broke, and Andrew Tate says, get off your ass, get in the gym, get a side hustle, you're not telling me that your statistical probability of success won't increase? I think that would be fallacious to say.
I don't. I mean, that's someone's opinion, though.
It's not
That
an
person's
opinion,
opinion. You can
because
choose to whether
getting in the
say,
gym objectively gets you in better shape and in better well-being health-wise. That's not an opinion. That's a fact.
for him to say that someone's fat to get in the gym.
That's
That is someone's
obese. Okay,
opinion.
let's use the
That is,
medical term, so you can't say it's an
you
opinion.
just said
You're
fat. You just
obese.
said fat. You
That's not
said
an opinion
plus
because
size.
no, obese is a medical term, so
Anyways,
we can't argue
so
semantics there.
somebody says, right? Andrew Tate says to another man, "You're fat. I mean, you're obese. You need to get in the gym. You should be this and that." Right? That's his opinion. That guy may feel really good about himself,
So if he
right?
says you're obese, so get in the gym so you have a better life, from a health standpoint and
and
from a
say if
women's
he does go
standpoint.
to the gym at some point, he's gonna owe that to Andrew Tate. And
That's
Andrew
not
Tate
no.
told me I'm
You're
obese, so
strawmanning
I'm
my
going to the
argument because that's
gym.
not what I'm claiming. I'm saying they
That's what you
relay the mess.
said.
No, it's not. That's a
You said
strawmanning
the
my argument.
followers
I'm
of these
saying the
people.
message that they relay is going to rise and heighten the probability of success in your life. It doesn't. I'm not saying give credit to them. Give credit to the advice is what you should do. That's
I just don't
I,
agree with that.
I mean, you have to disprove it. You can't just say I disagree.
Because you're saying, oh, you're trying to say there's factuals behind this, but it is
There
a
is.
opinion based community,
It's
right?
not
He
opinion
gives
based. It's actually
advice.
very
Some of that, don't
factually
get me wrong,
based.
some of the advice that he gives is good advice for men
And
when
he's
it
just
comes to sleep.
he's one man in the community, and I wouldn't say it's an
But
opinion based
people
community.
refer to him as the main man in the community,
I
right? He
mean,
would
yeah,
just band down
he might be the kind of like the
and
guy leading it,
and
but he's not
most
the only.
other I know, but most other people, I don't know how to say this, look take his arguments and continue to speak on them. At the end of the day, he has it. He's a really popular name right now on social media.
He's arguably the most
But
influential, but
no, not
the
even
point,
close.
yeah, he
But
is the most
how
Googled
so?
person. I think the most Googled person in the world
Yeah, because
is
no, but
somewhat
right now,
influential.
totally, he has a lot to say. He don't get me wrong. He speaks with clear facts. Yeah, like I said, he has some really good advice for some men when it comes to your finances, when it comes to your fitness, saying, "Hey, this is how I did it." That's fine, but when you start to tell people what they're doing wrong with their life and expect them to be like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna listen to you," that's making it seem
But
like
why wouldn't
getting
you
other
listen?
people to. Why wouldn't? Why wouldn't I listen to him?
Yeah, or to someone
Because
giving you advice about improving your
because
life empirically.
we're talking about him as the community as a whole. If somebody comes to me, right, who is genuinely concerned for my health, my mother, my family, somebody who's really close to me saying, "Hey, this is my concern," of course I'm going to listen to them. Of course I'm going to say, "Okay, I hear you out.
So
Let
it
me go
depends on
seek
how
the
you.
help that
So
I
improving
need."
your life depends on how you feel. That's fallacious.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't make it feel how I
That's what
feel,
you're
but
implying. You're saying, well, it
we're
depends on how they
also
tell me. Like, no, it shouldn't matter on how they tell
no, it
you.
doesn't depend on how they tell me. Some people have said some rude shit
That's
to
what you
me.
just
Uh,
claimed. You said it depends on how they tell me.
Well, that's the example I use, but
It's
like I said, some people have
fallacious.
come out to me and said, "You need to get your fucking shit together," and I'm like, "Okay," like I hear
That's what he
you,
does,
but there's
essentially.
also yeah, but some people are going to be like, "Who the fuck?" You don't know what they're going through in the back, right?
I
Like I've
mean,
told you
we can all make
before,
excuses, but there's only one way to improve your life, and that's with effort and change. It's the only way.
100%. And there are people who are really trying. You see it all the time. I see it all the time now. Women are actually out there putting change and effort in, and men are telling them, "You're not good enough. You haven't lost
I mean,
enough
that's a
weight,"
red herring. That's
and
not relevant to this, but
it is relevant because, like I said, that's one of the main arguments is woman. He compared a woman to objects and dogs
okay. Well, that's
on a BS on
no,
a
that's
BSS
fallacious. That's a
podcast.
false
That's not
equivalency because
fallacious.
he's
He
using an
literally said that.
analogy. He's using an analogy for a premise. So let's break down exactly what that is because people like to use a false equivalency. Excuse me, a false dichotomy. That's the one. So he says, like a car, right? If you leave a Lambo in the hood, statistically, okay. So if you have a Lambo, where do you have more of a chance of it being stolen? In the hood or in Beverly Hills? Where's the better
In the
chance of
hood.
it getting stolen? Okay, so
In the hood.
now take a woman for example. If she's at your house, where is there a better chance that unfaithfulness will take place? At your house or at a club where there's dudes with dudes everywhere? Where is there a higher probability of her being unfaithful? The
So
club,
we're just
right?
But no, but you're making the assumption that they're going to be unfaithful if they go into a club. Every
No, I'm
woman,
saying
that's
statistically
an
speaking, there's
assumption.
a higher probability. I'm not assuming anything.
Okay, well, what
On a
about the
balance of
men?
probabilities, the
What
statistics.
about the men?
I mean, if you want to go into that, men and women are different. Biologically
No.
speaking,
If
yeah,
you're
they
going to be
are.
in a committed relationship at this point, that one of the commitments is you stay faithful.
All right,
If you're
to avoid our subjective lens, this is the reality. If a guy is at the top of the totem pole, financially speaking, right, status speaking, then unfortunately, whether we like it or not, he has, the power in the relationship. The ball's in his court, so the woman's gonna have to make a choice: accept what comes with that or leave. And that's statistically speaking, he is more. Now, I'm not saying valuable in an intrinsic sense. I mean from a dating marketplace stance, based on what women want biologically speaking, right? They want protection, they want a dominance, they want a guy with money. He's the one with the leverage. Why? Because he's statistically more rare than your local seven walking across the street. So whether you like it or not, that's just the hard truth, despite how we feel about it. So the red pill community basically just relays reality, whether it doesn't matter how we feel. In an ideal world, sure, everyone should live in a fucking Disney fairy tale. We should all be married until the day
that's
we
not a
die, but
Disney
that's not
fairy
reality.
tale.
We have to go
That's
based
just what's
off
right.
reality.
Like if you don't want to be committed, what is wrong with being committed to one person? Because that while so let's say for example you do find somebody that
That's
you really
fine.
really love, but you expect that person to sit at home when she knows in the back of your head you're out messing around with other women, but
If
she
you want
can't
a
say
guy that
shit
sits
to
at
you.
home, then date an average guy. That's what I tell the women all the time. Date an average guy then. But what's the kick to that? They don't want that.
So what the kick of that is that you as a woman expect to be cheated on because he's made it, folks. He's
I
made it in
mean,
life, so
he
he
has
has the right to
leverage,
cheat on
and
me.
with that,
He has leverage over
the
me.
reality is men have to earn their value. And as far as the dating marketplace, you have to earn
And
that.
then exactly going back to my point, men who haven't learned that value think that they can start implying that, broadcasting that message out to women when they haven't even earned it yet. People nowhere close to where they should be at the level of Andrew Tate or some of these really popular podcasts, even Joe Rogan, are going out there saying, "Hey, I can say this to you because this person told me I can. This person gave me the advice and said I could." That is why I claim that it's toxic. You're able to do whatever the hell you want to do, and if that woman chooses to stay with you and chooses to do that, that's on her. But the main issue, like I've said multiple times, is that it is now being broadcasted across all men
The
who
problem in your argument is you don't account for female accountability. If they're dating a bum and he's cheating on her, that's her fault for sticking around in the first place. That's not all the
mm,
man's fault. The woman has to take accountability. That's another problem with feminism. They don't take accountability. They blame everybody else.
accountability for
That's
what?
fallacious. You're saying, well, what? It's not fair that the girls get cheated on and this and that, and those guys don't have
Oh,
value. Then why is she with them in the first place? She chose
she
them.
loves him. She loves him,
That's her
and
problem then.
you expect people to you expect people to be committed. You expect people to be faithful once you make that
Mm,
commitment to one another, saying,
it's not
"Hey,
realistic though.
I." It is, but that's life. People are parents, or old school parents, old school parenting. If we were to sit there and say, "Hey, this is what I'm going to do," they'd probably be like, "What the fuck? That's not normal." That's not normal to sit there and say, "Hey, I have this woman I go home to. I take care of her. She has a lot of money. She drives a nice car. But on Friday through Sunday, I'm sleeping with about 20 other women over the weekend. But she has money." What is that? How is that a truly happy marriage
You know what's
or a
funny
truly
though
happy
is
relationship?
older generations had higher marriage success rates and lower divorce rates, and women were more traditional, statistically speaking. They weren't wanting to be boss bitches or independent women. They wanted to be, traditional women. Is that the case now? No. So we can't really go based off what our parents think we should do in an idealistic world. We have to live
But
in
what
a
if you found a
realistic world.
traditional woman? Would you want to do that to her?
Well, I'm not
She's
going to give
she's
my own
she
opinion because
takes
that's
care of
irrelevant.
you. It is relevant because you're advocating for this community.
I'm
She takes care of
I
you. She
my
treats you
job
right.
is to prove how it's not toxic. That's all. Despite my own personal preferences as far as dating, it's irrelevant. So what you have to do is prove to me with facts, not on how you feel, why the red pill community is toxic. You haven't done that with at least with factual empirical evidence.
But how is this my thing is how is this an empirical based debate if it literally is opinions on both sides of the female and male? This is not something where I'm saying, oh, I'm putting out some statistics on you on all the men that have improved themselves because of things
Well,
that Andrew Tate has said.
based on
We're
how,
not.
based on my assessment how this debate is going, essentially you could basically say the paradigm that I'm describing compared to the ones you're describing is one that has a higher success rate. So I'd be like it's like a doctor's opinion versus an opinion of somebody that doesn't have the knowledge on the topic at hand. So you got to bring more factual based evidence to further strengthen your premise, because right now it's not as strong as mine. I'll say, at least for my eye. So
Well, I mean, your premise is still very opinionated as well.
I
It's
don't think
very
so.
like, I think so because what
I gave you some questions to answer that you weren't willing to because you didn't want to concede because
those
they
are
were
that's not
facts.
something that's not accurate. So everyone that follows or has followed Andrew Tate has lived by the way he told you to live
It's not
because that's
about
what
the
it sounds like.
person. It's not about the
Because
person giving the message. It's about the message itself.
you said, who
The
do you think is doing
paradigm.
better, people who follow Andrew Tate or people who follow feminists? So therefore, you're making the assumption that everybody that follows Andrew Tate is
No,
following his
I'm saying
lifestyle advice.
more of them are doing better
Based off of what facts though?
based
So
off the
then at that
message being
point,
based off the message being relayed. The message by Tate is be disciplined, get in shape, get your money right. What's the feminist or other paradigms ideology? Most of them are, oh, be nice, be sensitive to her, love your curves, girl. Where's that going to get you in
I
life
don't think the
compared to
feminist
that?
movement is all about what a female looks like though.
That's a rational standpoint.
But
That's
that's not
me
what
arguing
the
from a
feminist
rational
movement's about. It's
standpoint.
about gender equality and being treated just as equally as a man. That's what I took from the feminist community. But do I consider myself a feminist? No. But I don't think that's the only reason why someone is a feminist is to tell a plus size woman, oh, love yourself, love your curves. I don't think that's the main reason why they're there. I just don't. That's two separate things. But what I'm saying is, you're making the claim that okay, I listen to Andrew, then you make this. That's statistical. That's not saying
I
that's not
think it is
factual.
statistical.
That's
So if
you
you have,
thinking saying,
so let's remove the people giving the message. You have two messages. One is, if you don't want to be obese, go to the gym. If you don't want to be broke, work harder. All right. So that's one message. It doesn't matter. Pretend we don't know who's relaying it. Now we have another message. Oh, you're obese. It's okay. Love your curves. Just embrace your obesity. And oh, you're broke. It's okay. You're special. Everyone's special. Which message is going to help you become more successful in a balance of probabilities empirically? Message one or message two? That's not Tate, not anyone.
message
There's two
one,
messages. Okay,
message one.
so why? Because Tate is saying the message. Why wouldn't it work?
So who
Just
the hell
because
is Andrew
Tate is
Tate?
saying it. To me, it seems you have a vendetta or you have an appeal to emotion to him, which is why you don't want to concede that point. But when I remove him from the
I don't.
equation, you concede the point.
No, that's not true because what you're saying is, of course, obesity is not healthy. Like we all know that, and for that, this idea that plus size women don't think that they're not like that they're healthy, that they have it all together. That's
That's
just
what
not
they're
right.
encouraged to do.
No, I can guarantee you, women who are bigger don't think that at night. When they go to bed, they think about everyone that's made fun of them, everyone that's called them out on their shit. It's not probably fun being a bigger girl. It probably is not fun at all, especially with the way people talk about them online. Freaking brutal. And I've told you this before. People are extremely rude to bigger girls. And these bigger girls can be some of the nicest freaking people that you ever meet and will never call you out on your shit because that's not who they are. Because they know that as soon as they call somebody else out, they know exactly what's going to be attacked. And that's the way that they looked. And to me, that's a bully. That's a bully. That's not okay. You can have your preference. Say, hey, you're a nice girl. Yeah, me personally, just like I had this conversation with my sibling. I asked him his opinion. What would you do if this happened to you? He said, I would never tell a woman directly why I don't like her, whether that's attractiveness, whether she doesn't do it for me. I would say, hey, I don't think this is not for me. I think we just don't vibe. Let's just be friends. I would never tell a woman, and he's 30, 35, he's been around in the dating scene for a minute, that she's ugly or that she's fat or that she's this. I could have my preference, but I'm not going to go out of my way to hurt a girl's feeling. And if she asks why, you just go around it. Say, hey, I just don't think we're a
Go
match.
around it.
That,
So
yeah,
let her continue to be unhealthy.
that's not your opinion to give though, especially if you're just in the dating scene. I'm sure she knows. That's what I'm saying. I'm sure she knows that she's unhealthy with the way people speak about bigger women today. I'm sure they know that they're not the healthiest. I'm sure they don't make the
I
best
think
decisions
that's a
decisions of what they have in their life,
criticism is
right?
essential. criticism and competition is essential for society to thrive. So that precedent's kind of dangerous because you're not holding anyone accountable. You're letting them be weak and unproductive.
No,
That's
that's not being weak. That's being kind. That's being we have no right, especially if I don't know what the person's going through. Eating disorder, something on the back end. I'm not going to give my opinion where I don't need to give my opinion. I could sit there and say, if they bring it up to me myself, I'm going to sit there and say, I hear you. It probably sucks. Let's try and let's do it together. I'm not going to sit there and say, yeah, you know what? You're pretty fat. You need to go lose some weight. I would never do that to it. And even if they were a male, but that's me. That's how I was raised. I was raised to be kind to people. I was raised to treat people like a human, right? Because we're human, not to sit there and talk down on them or comment on their body or tell them what's wrong with them. That's just not okay. So
well,
then you expect it's future generations to do the same. If I got a call from my school and my they told me my son was sitting there calling a girl's name, I would be so disappointed because that's not how I want my child to
unfortunately,
be.
unfortunately, despite how you or I feel, the best
That's
catalyst for
reality
the
though.
best no, it's not. Despite how we feel, the best catalyst for change is discomfort. That's the best way to change. Now, I'm not saying I advocate it or not, but in general, the best catalyst for change in someone's life is discomfort and pain and things similar to that. So that's the reality. Now, to go back on the topic at hand, because we kind of deviated from the specific topic because of red herrings, but I entertained them. But going back to the specific topic, so I gave my statement on what the red pill community is. It's a practical and pragmatic approach to life, despite on how we feel, right? The messages that they relay, empirically speaking, heighten your chances of success from fitness to finances to women, right? And their messages are rational. Yeah, they might sound horribly from your subjective lens and you appealing to them emotionally, but your job is to prove to me factually why those messages aren't ideal or good messages and why they're toxic. So you have to tell me essentially why are they harmful in from a factual based logical deduction. That's what you have to do if you want to prove that the red pill community is toxic. Facts, not how you feel.
I mean, I'm not gonna be able to sit here and pull out like exact quotes on things that they have said because I haven't done that. I haven't sat down. I've watched, I've listened, I've tried to understand some of the things that have been said. But like I've said before, multiple times, it is the way that it is said, not necessarily by Andrew Tate, right? Because that's but when we say red pill, that's the first person you think of most of the time. When I've talked to other people, like, oh, isn't that that thing that's ran by Andrew Tate? That's like one of the main people that people talk about. It is when it's broadcasted a certain way, it doesn't look like you're helping anybody. It looks like you're bullying people. It looks like
Again,
there's
though,
men who go. That's not. This is not a factual based conversation though, because
I think it is.
me or you don't have the statistics to pull out and say, I. This is the data I've collected. We're going based off of what we've heard, based off of what we've watched, based off what we've possibly read. But me and you have not gone out and done our own research and said, hey, this is what it is because when you have read when like we've done before when we've read a lot of those statistics and opinions and articles, who mostly writes them? Women. So there's really not a lot of good
Well,
facts obviously
I
to
didn't
begin
use
with.
articles. I used empirical evidence. 42%
um,
of US are obese, 50% of Americans are on prescription medication, 80% of marriages end in divorce,
but is it
50% of
based off of
marriages
the
end in
red thing?
divorce. 80% of
But
those marriages are ended by women, which clearly indicates a trend in female displeasure and overall lack of interest, which is a problem, which is why the red community has risen so much because there's clearly a problem empirically speaking as far as relationships are concerned with women vastly on the balance of probabilities having a higher chance of ending it. So there is empirical evidence to suggest a trend in male unproductivity, and from that you can extrapolate rationally. Well, these men, most of them are living lives of quiet desperation. Why? Because they have to endure these things, and now are they victims? Fuck no. A lot of it, they have to look at themselves in the mirror. I'm not saying that, but that's what the red pill community does. It tells you the brutally honest truth and how to live a more practical and pragmatic life from an empirical sense. It's not an opinion. If you go to the gym and you're obese, you have a better chance of not being obese. That's a fact. That's a fact. Telling someone you should love your curves, embrace your own body positivity, that's not going to fuel somebody to go into the gym and fix their life. And that's a fact.
You're saying
That's
that if
not
a
my
obese person
opinion.
goes to a gym, then they're not going to be obese.
They have a better chance on a bunch of probabilities, and that's a fact.
That's fact.
That's fact. Yeah.
Mm, And the gym's not because can the gym is not going to be one of the main reasons why somebody gets healthy. It may be
It's
one of the big
no, I
reasons.
would argue it is. The gym and diet
Mm,
are the two main
s-
aspects.
so yes, diet is a big thing, but if you could go on a diet and not freaking work out and lose 100 pounds in a few months, if you're following proper dietary guidelines, you're still doing it in a healthy way, you can lose weight without the gym. So this assumption that, oh, if a obese person doesn't want to go to the gym, that means they just don't want to lose the weight. That's not a valid argument.
I think
That's
that's a nirvana fallacy because we're not talking about all. We're generalizing. So on a balance of probabilities, it's most likely that it does give a benefit to a person that goes to the gym.
it
Obviously,
benefits anybody.
we can have
It,
these
it,
idealistic visions, but those will never be the reality because we don't live in a perfect world. Not everyone that goes to the gym is going to be Arnold Schwarzenegger, and not every marriage is going to survive. So that's a nirvana fallacy. But on a balance of probabilities, the message the red pill community gives increases your likelihood of success.
okay,
Not
so
for sure going to increase it, but on a balance of probabilities, it most likely will compared to a message like the feminist movement or all this other bullshit, over sensitive crap messages that they give. They're not going to help you. They're going to, if anything,
okay,
they're going to push you down and make you weaker
so you can make
statistically.
a clear connection between what you just said in regards to divorce, in regards to obesity, to the red pill community. You can make a clear connection between the two.
That's their
Think of the
message,
re
yeah.
That's but you just said that that's the empirical behind it, saying, "Oh, we're here to do this because of this, and that, and because we're doing this, this is getting better." You're making that clear
There's a
connection.
high probability it will get better, yeah.
It will get better, but has it gotten better because of the red pill community?
I mean, I would say yeah. More, if
Based off
more
of
people, the bigger the audience of the red pill community grows, it's easy to deduce just from common sense that more people are going to improve their lives. The bigger the audience of the red pill, the more people are going to improve. So if you have 1 million people listening, you're going to have a lot of people improving their life. If you have 10 million people, it jumps up to 10 mil. From a rational standpoint, it's very likely that the number of people actually improving will also increase. So it's a domino
okay,
effect. And
okay, so
that's a very rational argument.
so let's use it on the other end. Let's say these men are listening to, I mean, women too. Shoot, I don't know. Listening to these people speak and preach, because I'm not going to use just one person, because multiple people speak on this topic now, and they do what they're saying, and they go and try to, address maybe their partner that way. But this partner has also learned from another person saying, "You don't deserve to be treated that way," and then there's a good chance more divorces might happen, because now you guys are on two completely different sides of what you thought your marriage was supposed to be. Therefore, the women can have a thought that, oh hell no, I'm not gonna let him treat me like that. I'm not gonna let him make me tell me what I can and
Well,
can't do with my money, with my
again,
kids, with this, with my
women
body.
need to take accountability. Date an average guy then. Simple as that. He
Mm,
won't tell you what to do because he
now,
doesn't have the leverage to do it. Date an average guy. But
do you think the man has money, he has the leverage to be able to tell a woman what he wants to do, what they want to do, and that's
so
just
we have to go to the
the
biological
only reason.
aspects. The
And they have a
biological
family together.
aspects. So biologically, men are designed to lead. They've always been the hunters, the gatherers. Only
But you can
patriarchies
lead
have
while
stood the
being a
test
good
of time.
person.
So rationally, it's clear who the leader is. That doesn't mean they're better than women. That's their duty. What's the woman's duty? Usually nurturing, support, etc. That's their duty. It doesn't make one or the other better than the other. That's just their duty from a biological standpoint. So, yeah, if a guy is top of the food chain financially, then yeah, he probably does call the shots as far as, the big decisions. Biologically speaking, that's where people tend to deviate towards, or not deviate, but people tend to gravitate towards their traditional roles as far as male and female. So, yeah,
So,
doesn't
but
make
you
him
just
better
said
than the woman. That's just their duty.
that's one of the arguments of the Republican is that men and women are not equal.
They're
The man
not,
is the
yeah.
leader. But you just said men and women, that the man's not better than women.
I'm
That's two
not. Yeah,
different things there.
I said they're not better than women. I didn't say that they weren't equal, or that they were equal. It doesn't just because I say they're not. He's not better than the woman doesn't mean they're equal. They're different.
That's different how?
So if we're going down to semantics, different doesn't equal better. Different and equal have two different semantical meanings. Equal means they're equal in every sense, physical and mental, etc. Different means they're different. Doesn't mean one's better or the other's better. They're not equal. Men's are not better. Men and women are different. That's the key semantical relationship that I'm establishing. Different. Biological trends point to this from the beginning of time. Who's been leading the tribes? Who's been leading these early civilizations?
Traditional, faithful men.
No, the kings fucked bitches since the beginning of time. Kings, warlords. You don't think Genghis Khan was fucking a ton of bitches? Then we're definitely living in a delusional world.
No,
Rome's king was fucking all kinds of bitches. That's just the way men that can live that way live their lives. If they have the ability to do so, that's how they're gonna live it. Kings, warlords, all those guys were fucking bitches. Not just one bitch, I guarantee that. And the trends now. I mean, again, the way I relay that message is irrelevant. So that's how men are. If leave a man to his own devices, give him $3 million, give him a Lambo, give him a blue check mark on Instagram. Tell me he's not gonna fuck more than one bitch.
There's also top tier men. There's top tier men out there, and you've said it before, who are faithful. Who go
exceptions don't make the rule, though. Exceptions.
But
don't
that's
make
not
the rule.
all men top tier. You said all.
That was never the claim. I say on the bounce of probabilities, leave a man to his own devices, he's gonna fuck more than one bitch.
But I can guarantee you that man is just as happy as a man who goes and has an open relationship with a bunch of different.
Yeah, but that's an exception to the rule.
It's not happier, right?
It's statistically insignificant. Statistically insignificant.
It's not insignificant. It's the same thing.
No, statistically insignificant. Thing. No.
How so? No, it's not. You're talking about.
That's like saying. That's like saying I'm not going to take the vaccine because there's a 0.999, there's a 0.0001% that I'll die. Of course, you're still going to get it. Why? Because it's statistically insignificant. That's basically what you're proposing. Like, oh, there's one guy out of 100,000 that will not fuck more than one bitch, and he's rich, and that doesn't prove anything. The general trend still stands. So the exception does not make the rule. It's an outlier. It's a statistically insignificant event. That's the point.
No, I hear you. I'm listening.
So.
Sorry. Whoa. I lost my train.
Outliers don't make the rule. They deviate from the general trend.
But we're talking about a very small percentage of men who are top notch. You said yourself that top tier.
Yeah, but you're not understanding. So if there's 10 rich men, we'll be lucky if one of them only fucks one chick. If we're lucky.
But like one of the goals, though, why is that like something that's super important to men?
It's not super important. It's instinctual. Instinctually, that's what men were biologically designed to do. They were designed to procreate. They weren't designed to be monogamous.
Yeah, but that can also happen with one woman.
No, women can only biologically. I can simply say this: women can only bring one baby to term per year. That literally proves why they can't fuck a bunch of dudes.
20 different women and bring 20 babies in 1 year. That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, yeah, because he's able to do it.
Men are not born to consistently being with women because that's not. You have a biological need to reproduce, to eat, to do all that stuff, not to go out. Nobody has a biological need to go out and sleep with 30 different women in 1 month. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, they do.
That's not a biological need of men. It's not. Men do have a biological need to reproduce and do. You don't have to
prove why that is.
Absolutely. Because that's just that. Prove why. That's not. There's no proof to that.
You didn't prove it though. You're just stating it ad nauseum. You got to prove that statement.
I said, men have a biological need to reproduce and do the things that they do. I don't want to get into that part, but I'm saying the idea that saying, oh, it's a biological man's need for them to want to hook up with a bunch of different women doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me at all.
I mean,
the sexual. Go ahead.
Because of how you feel emotionally, but statistically speaking,
that's reality, though, right?
It's not reality. That's your subjective lens. The reality is
multiple times with one woman.
The reality is top tier men fuck multiple bitches, and that's the general trend. Yeah, there might be 1 out of 100 that doesn't, but that still doesn't negate the clear trend of behavior. And the trend is those guys, because they're able to, because women can't stop them, because they have the leverage, they fuck multiple women. And that's a fact, statistically speaking. One guy not doing it doesn't negate that fact.
Okay, and so let's use some so let's talk about Fresh and Fit's podcast. Women that he brings onto that show, right? Who sit there and say, I want a man who makes 500K. I want a man who makes 600K. I can agree with any other like sensible female that those girls are fucking idiots by the way that they speak
He's had
and the way
PhD.
they may be.
They've had over 1,500 women, and the
But I'm
vast
talking
majority.
about the majority of women that go on there talking
So
loud,
you're
trying to step
saying
up.
that. So you're saying that pool of women doesn't represent the vast majority of women. They've had a wide variation of women, from PhDs.
He's
They have
I'm
PhDs. They've
talking
had
about
influencers. Of course, they've had the porn stars, but they've had a variety of different types of women, from older, younger, lesbians. Well, they don't count, not in this discussion, but professionals, porn stars, PhD students. They all have that general consensus of, oh, I want a top tier guy, 6 figures, 6 foot, 6 feet, 6 inch dick. That's what they all want. So I don't think it's logically sound to state, well, it's because all these women are fucking dumb, when there's a wide variety of them, and there's been over 1,500 of them. I think that's a pretty good pool of surveying. And I think
1,500 women versus
any statistician would state that is a pretty good survey. So, and I think it does
that's
represent women. And the
so you're
bigger,
saying that. So how does it represent women? Not all women give a shit about how much money a man brings to the table. Because there, like I told you before, there's doctor couples, there's couples who make a shit ton of money together. They don't care about how much money one person's
so
bringing in. If they're both
I can
bringing in the
bring
money, I've
mathematical
seen
concepts
some.
in.
I've
So
but I've seen
the
some top tier. Hold on, I've seen some top tier bomb ass looking doctor couples. I'm like, hey, they look fucking happy. They don't care about
exceptions
what
don't make the
anybody else
rule.
says. But what the exception? There's so many couples out there who make just as much money as one another and are
No, there's
living their lives
not.
happily.
No,
Yes,
there's
there
not.
is. I can guarantee
Statistically,
you
that's
that there
not.
is.
That's not the facts. Happy? What?
Okay, so you think a doctor
How
is
come
going to date somebody
50?
who works?
How
You're
come
going to think a
50%
doctor?
of marriages end in divorce, and how come 80% of those marriages are 80% of those divorces are initiated by women? I don't think they're happy.
They're probably not happy.
Exactly. So
But there's
that
also
claim
reasons we
is
can't
void,
account
because
because that we cannot account that because that man doesn't make a lot of money. That's the reason why the woman's not happy. There's cheating. There's a bunch of other things that goes on to people why divorce. I'm not going to
the highest
assume.
reason for divorce is AKA irreconcilable differences, which AKA means you don't make enough money, or that could mean you're not dominant enough, you're not man enough, so I'm leaving you and I'm taking half your shit. That's the main reason why
And
women leave.
that's me.
And
But
why? Because they
there's
want
facts
top
to
tier
back it up.
guys. Women want top
No,
tier
I don't think that
guys.
there's top tier guys. I've met multiple people throughout my life who have divorced, and some people just say, "Dude, like we just don't connect anymore," and that's
That's a
okay.
bullshit reason for I'm not attracted to you, you're not
That's
man enough, you're not desirable enough. That's just a
people
bullshit
can
blanket
people can
statement.
love somebody, but love somebody where say, "Hey, I can't do this anymore." There could be an emotional
That's bullshit. That's
disconnection,
AKA I don't want to be with you because you're not desirable enough to me. That's the truth. That's the
but then
truth.
once again, you're making it put to the point back is that that person doesn't have money to be able to make that woman
There's
happy,
always
right?
some purpose. It could be that they're
But
fat, they're not
think a
ambitious, they're
male
broke.
do you think a male doctor is going to want to go off and date a woman who works a part-time job making minimum wage somewhere?
Absolutely.
I don't
Malleable,
think so at all. I
malleable,
don't think
probably
so.
young, probably fit at that age. Hell yeah, she is. Why would he want to date a 50-year-old doctor who is challenging and masculine and makes almost the same amount of money as him? That
No,
doesn't
I don't think that's true at
coincide
all,
with
actually.
men's desires in women. Men's and women's desires are not symmetrical, they're asymmetrical. Women want a powerful, rich, tall, strong man. Women want a malleable, supportive, nurturing woman. They don't want a powerful, rich, tall woman. Why the fuck would they want that? They're not dating men, they're dating women. So yeah, you're damn right he does want a girl from McDonald's that's
No.
21, that's malleable, that's attractive, not a 50-year-old masculine doctor that works in this coworker. Hell no.
But why are you making that something that they have a masculine personality because they make a lot of money? They went to
To
school,
make
they've worked
money,
hard, they've gotten the
that
education to get where they
inherently
are.
means. So think about it like this, using propositional mathematics. To make money, There's a high probability that a prerequisite of that is you having masculine traits. What's that? Non-agreeable, dominant, assertive, argumentative. Those traits on a balance of probabilities give you a higher probability of making more money. That's why. And those are inherently masculine traits. So yes, a woman doctor more than likely has those traits on a balance of probabilities. They're not going to be nurturing and sweet and, not combative.
The thing that's not even,
That's the truth.
when someone works that hard, that's not an aggressive way to get. They are putting in the time. They are putting in the work. Becoming a
Because they're
doctor is not.
ambitious.
We're just
Because they're
using one, but we're
ambitious.
just using. There's nothing wrong with being ambitious, though. If you
That's
want
a masculine
something,
trait.
even if it's freaking a general manager position at a fast food restaurant, you're gonna do it. If you really want that position, you're gonna do what it takes to get that position. So, for example, we're
Masculine.
talking about these women who become doctors, lawyers, this really want to do it, they focus, they grind, they focus on
That's
themselves.
masculine.
But they, instead of going to the club, they sit at home. That's not masculine. Instead of going to
That
the
is
club,
masculine.
they sit at
That's
home
masculine traits.
and they read their textbook. That's not
That's what
masculine. That's
that's
someone wanting to
masculine.
achieve their goals, and achieving a goal has nothing to do with masculinity,
Yeah, it
right?
does.
If you want,
It does.
if somebody wants to lose weight, is that masculine because it's a goal? If I'm determined and I'm
You're strawmanning
ambitious
the
to,
argument. The point is, masculine
but that's the
traits
thing.
are. You're
That's the
strawmanning
same
the argument
thing.
because no,
If I want
no.
something as a woman and I put in the work and the effort and I'm determined, I'm ambitious to do it, that's masculine. But then I'm being told as a woman I need to
I can
look a
simply
certain way.
negate this train of thought as asking one simple question: who do you think, on a balance of probabilities, is more aggressive, non-agreeable, combative? A woman that's a lawyer at a hotshot law firm, or a girl working at McDonald's? Who probably has the more
They
masculine
both can be
traits?
just as both
No,
of
you
them.
got that. You're being
But
disingenuous. You can answer the
that's
question.
that's a poor example because
It's not
lawyers
a
are
poor example.
trained to
It's a
be that
perfect
way.
example
They're
because it
trained and
illuminates.
they're taught to be aggressive. They're taught to be because
No, you're
that's their
not taught
job.
to
They
be
go.
aggressive. That's not the way it
Yes, they
works. You're
are. They're
either
lawyers. They're taught to go out and defend people, fight for
no,
people, whether that be
no.
male or
You don't
female.
get there
If
in
we're
the first
talking,
place unless you're already aggressive. That's a prerequisite to be someone
so
of that caliber.
you think a female, every female that works at McDonald's is not aggressive?
Again,
Every female
that's
that
a
works at,
Nirvana fallacy.
that's
Again,
what you're
that's
saying.
not
That
fallacious.
one's more
That's not what I'm
aggressive
saying.
than
I'm
the
saying
other.
I said on a balance of probabilities. I didn't say all. You know the answer to that question. We all do. The
That's not,
lawyer.
no, it's not, because a
Yeah,
lawyer
that's the
is
answer to the
trained to be
question.
that way.
No, you're
I'm
not
not,
trained to be masculine.
I don't want a soft ass lawyer who, if I'm getting trialed for freaking murder and I'm going to decide between a lawyer who I can barely hear when she speaks and the lawyer who talks like she knows what
No,
she's doing and a little bit
that's
aggressive with what
fallacious
she
because
says, that's not
that's
fallacious
that's
though.
fallacious
They're
because there's
trained
nature
that
versus
way.
nurture. There's nature versus nurture. Yes, your environment does shape you into the person you become, but there's also nature. Some people are more genetically predisposed to be aggressive, dominant, non-agreeable, assertive. That's genetic predisposition. A woman that's a lawyer is probably more genetically predisposed to be aggressive and masculine than a girl working at McDonald's. Probably, on a balance of probabilities, which proves my point.
Then again, like I said, that you're using a position where people are known to be aggressive and like that, men and
The
female.
truth
They
is, the
need
top tier possession, the
the way
top
that
most
lawyers the way that lawyers make money is by winning. If they
I
don't
mean,
win a
you're red
case,
herring because the point is
that's
the
not red
top
herring
tier.
because what
It is
most
because the
lawyers
top
are.
positions in any job, any field require that. Doctor, lawyer, athlete,
Yeah, you have to be able, you have to know what the fuck you're doing. You have to work hard to be able to know that. But I'm saying you're
masculine
using a
traits.
lawyer as an example, right?
No, I'm
Let's use a
using all top
doctor.
tier
So let's use
positions.
a doctor who not necessarily can be aggressive. They
You know how
work with
competitive
people.
that field is? It's extremely
But I'm
competitive. You have
saying
to be aggressive. You have to be
the way
dominant.
they really don't. They have to
Yeah, you
be
do.
good at what they do. Doesn't mean to be aggressive, right?
Even to get into medical school, which is a prerequisite to being a professional doctor, it's extremely competitive. You got to be the
Extremely
top of the food
competitive in
chain.
the sense of they go out there, right?
You have to be ambitious. You have to be
They get their
dominant.
medical degree. They go out there and before they get into the medical school that they're going to do the residency, they go and they do these shadow interviews with the schools or the hospitals that they want to work with, the schools that have contract with the hospitals. Do you think they're going in there and being aggressive to get what they want? No, that's not how they get that
I think you're
position. I'm
misconstruing you're
following.
strawmanning the
No,
argument.
that's
Aggressive means you're ambitious. You attack it. Doesn't mean that you're a fucking asshole. It means
but
you attack the task at hand. You're an aggressive, combatant, challenging person. Most doctors are.
you can
They have to get
do
into
that
medical
and
school.
not be considered it might not can be considered a masculine quality. right?
And about
Like
the
I'm saying to
probabilities,
you,
they
but like
are.
I'm saying to you right now, the process of becoming a doctor, because I followed a few female doctors in my life when I was interested in that field, is you go out to these resident interviews and you do a whole day of shadowing interviews. You work directly with the patients. The way that they get to that point is by being on their shit, knowing what they're doing.
That's
But two, it has
masculine.
nothing. No, it's not. A female can
Yeah,
be
it
on their
is.
shit too.
No,
I've
they're just
seen
more on their shit. Masculine people are more on their shit than a more nurturing and submissive person. That's the point.
that's not a masculine quality.
That
That's
is
just
masculine.
a house from says who.
Biology, empirical evidence,
So being
observational evidence
so
of.
being on your shit or being organized, being smart, being successful is a masculine quality. I as a female can't be successful, or I as a female can't have my
You're
own
again, you're
career.
strawmanning the argument. The point
No,
is,
I'm not.
yeah,
I'm
you are.
being realistic because that's what people are
No,
gonna
that's
say.
idealistic.
That's
That's
what, but that's what
idealistic.
people have said to these men, to Andrew Tate as an counter argument, saying
They're
if we're gonna be together and you're make over six figures, you just want me to sit at home with
ideally.
kids or with kids. What if I want a fucking hobby? What if I want to go out and maybe have a job just so I can stay busy?
Find a more average guy.
So what satisfaction would it bring a man who's top tier for knowing that their wife is just sitting at home? Well, that wife probably knows what they're doing,
Loyalty, security of resources, plenty of things. A nurturing, submissive woman.
but they can't do that if while maybe teaching in a classroom,
I mean,
working
that's
at an
fine.
office.
Just don't be at the club. Don't be super combative. If you're a lawyer, doctor, top tier position of any field of discipline,
And again,
but the
a loyal
probability
woman,
is you're going to
right?
be masculine. That's why top tier guys
That
don't
is
date those women.
that is
It is what it
a
is, and that's a
traditional
fact.
woman. That is a traditional woman. So you have a woman who loves you, who wants to be with you, who doesn't want to be anybody else with you. She knows what you're doing. But you as a man say, well, I mean, hey, she has a roof over her head. She better be happy. That to me, that's so mentally damaging to a woman. Where
Date a
she
more average
doesn't say
guy.
anything.
Again, accountability.
No,
Date a
that's
more
not
average
true because
guy.
you could be with somebody who, when you first met them, they weren't shit. And they got to that point. So that whole time they stuck with you, supported you, motivated you, cheered you on until you got where you wanted to be. And then when you that point saying,
The
"Hey,
point is,
thank you for
let's be real. How much did the
no, wait,
woman?
hold on. If a woman's there supporting you and cheering you on when nobody else wanted to or nobody else did, who's walked down on you because maybe your views were a little bit off, that woman deserves some damn credit for sticking to it. Because sometimes these men have some pretty, pretty clear things of what they want, right? And they get to that point, they are successful, and the woman's there stuck with them the whole time, and you decide to be like, okay, you go have a great time. That's mentally damaging to a woman, to someone who's
Mm,
been there for you the whole time when nobody else wanted to, when people walked out, when your arguments and your ideas have gotten a little bit overboard, right? And people
again,
probably tell her, you're so stupid. Why do you want to be with somebody like that? They've been with you the whole time. It's because she loves you, right?
that
But
whole
you
argument.
obviously
It sounds good on paper
no.
and it sounds
At
very emotionally
it's the
enticing.
truth.
It's not
It's
the
the truth.
truth. That's not the truth.
It's the red pill community looks at it as objects, right? I
No,
have
they
this
don't.
woman, right? You may have a woman that you love,
They're
but
straw
it's a
manning the argument again.
competition, right? I just listened to a podcast that I showed the other day. He's sitting on there saying, I forget what podcast it was. You might have to remind me. It was those three ways. He said, you know what? And Andrew Tate's on this podcast. He goes, it's happening to us too now. It's happening to us too now. More and more women are coming up to us asking us, right? And they were getting excited. They were getting all hyped because they know what that means. So many options, right? However, what's going to happen. Women know why they're going after him. That's a game to them. How many women can I score? How many women can I sleep with this month? What women can I throw in people's faces? Hey, dude, I slept with this person. Can you believe that? That's what it's
I mean, you're
becoming.
straw manning the argument again.
That's looking at women as objects, though, right? That's just a sex toy to them. But when, like I'm saying, the reality there is a very distinct. When you see a woman who loves you versus a woman who just knows you're fucking famous, you're gonna see a difference. You're gonna see
Again,
the
we're blurring the lines between logic and
That's not blurring
emotion
the
again.
lines.
That is blurring the lines because all that's appeal to
That's reality.
emotion.
So do you
The
think
reality is
can you tell a weak-minded person from a strong-minded person? Can
easy.
you tell who
Depend
so then
easy.
how come you can't tell a difference between someone who only wants to be with you or only wants to mess with you because you got some money versus someone who's really there for you because they love you. They've been with you for a long time, or they've been with you through some shit. Can you tell a difference between those two people?
You want the harsh reality? The harsh reality is
No, can you tell? You're not
looks.
answering my
No,
other
no.
question.
This is going to indirectly answer it. The truth is, looks matter to every man. Every
We're
man,
not
looks
talking about
matters to
looks
them.
though. We're
And
not talking about
now,
looks.
to
What if your
women,
wife was bomb as
money
hell?
matters to some extent, matters to every woman, essentially. That's important. It doesn't make them. It doesn't make them a. It doesn't make them a
That
malevolent person.
didn't answer my question though.
I
You
did
could
answer
have
it.
your wife could be freaking 100 out of 10. It could be freaking bomb, and this other girl could be 100 out of 10. Can you tell a difference between someone who genuinely loves you because it's
Yes,
you?
it's easy.
Then what's the so if that person's for you and that person's for your money, why the fuck would you want to mess with a person
I
who's
mean,
that like?
this
Why
is
is that
all
like
red
appeasable
herring,
to
though.
you?
You haven't proven how the red pill
That's
community is toxic.
that's a talk because that's what the red pill committee is
No, that's you
teaching
nitpicking
men.
a specific statement. You have to prove that the overall paradigm is
When it comes to
toxic.
women, though, that's one of the main comments that Andrew Tate makes. Is he to him a woman is a possession, a woman is a prize. Yes, he does say if a woman doesn't want to be a part of it, she can leave. He says that. I've heard him say it multiple
Then
times,
what's the
like in a
issue?
recent podcast. Because that's not because then you expect because that's not a way to treat a woman. Period. That's
Then
not
she
an
can leave,
ideal
like you
way.
said. You can leave then and
And
date
then
an
they go,
average
well,
guy.
she's gonna go. What is that thought, right? She's gonna go now mess around with a bunch of the men because she's a whore. She's this. That's not ideal. That's gonna only that is like I said, that is so mentally damaging to that woman, especially have a family at
I
home.
mean, we could
You
talk
have that
about what's
wife.
damaging, what we don't
That's mentally
like.
damaging. And don't get me
But
wrong, women are
women are
cruel. Women are
hypergamous.
rude too.
They want the best guy they can pick. No one complains about that. I don't complain about it. I accept the reality. Women gotta accept the reality that high tier, top tier men have the leverage to do what they want. That's the reality. And the red pill community enlightens you to that reality and tells you to adjust accordingly for the highest success rate, despite how you or I feel. In a perfect world, yeah. Everyone should be rich. Everyone should be
Okay.
married till their death do them part. But that's fucking bullshit. That's never gonna happen. That's fantasy,
And
despite
I
how we
hear
feel.
you, but you
So
keep
you got to
saying
prove
top
why
tier.
that
You
message
keep
isn't
saying
right.
top tier. And when I said, I hear you, top tier, they probably are doing that shit. But the people who are broadcasting the message more are not top tier men who are going out
I
there
would
being.
argue Tate. Most of the respected red pill advocates
I
they
just
are top tier
excluded
actually.
them. I excluded
Yeah,
them, right? I'm talking about the that they're quote unquote impacting and changing.
that's the
I'm not
point. They're
talking
supposed
about
to
them.
impact average men to become better. That's the whole point.
So, but average men are crossing all those steps and going straight to the I'm better than you. I can do this. I'm not men versus women without even going through
It's
the
not men
advice that
versus
they're giving
women. It's men
them.
having
It
standards.
is
There's
a
no
men
men versus
versus woman
women.
thing. It's becoming a men versus
No,
woman thing.
to
Because
the
if you go on to
to the
social media,
women that are offended by reality, yeah, but not to the men.
that's if they're offended, something that's being disrespectful
No,
is
it
being
means that
said.
they have
If
to get out of
I
their
give somebody
feelings. They
advice,
have to get out
if
of their
someone gives me
feelings. That's what the
advice,
problem is.
let's say if somebody gives advice about, hey, you should do this, that, and that in regards to my health. Why would I? Am I going to sit there and get offended if it's true? Okay, maybe I do. Okay,
Yeah, the
yeah,
vast
but
majority
I'm
of
going to
obese
keep my
women get
mouth
offended.
shut before I talk shit. I'm going to keep my mouth shut until I accomplish that, and then maybe I'll be like, you can't fucking tell me that because I've done this, that, and that to get where I need to be now. I've done exactly what you've told me to
So,
do.
so your claim is that the red pill community, one of their key aspects is making this men versus women. I
No,
disagree
I'm not claiming
because
that. I'm saying that it has become a man versus woman thing
yeah,
because
that's
you
what you
have
just said.
wait, let me finish because you have men who are not listening to the red pill community. Like I said at the beginning of my argument, it has a few really great initial things. Like I said, finances, fitness, men's mental health, being a better man. Great. I love it. I love it that there's now a community for that because in reality there hasn't really been a community for men in general. I've put it on my own social media. Men's mental health takes a shit too. Most people who commit suicide are men. However, when they give advice, I do really enjoy listening to Joe Rogan, even though I don't consider him a red pill person. He says some really fucking true things that even a woman can take advice from. It's stop speaking and just fucking do it. If you want to be a better man, if you want to be even a better woman, stop complaining, stop talking shit to people, shut up and do what you got to do to get where you need to do.
So I see
It's not I want to be a better man. So I'm going to
the
sit here as I go and I'm going to fucking shit on every single woman that I come across
No,
because women ain't
that's a
shit.
straw man. That's a straw
It's not
man.
a straw. It's the if
That's
you
never
it's the
been
reality.
the message relayed by the red pill community to shit on
I'm
women.
but then you're ignoring what I'm saying though. I'm
No, it's
saying
because it's
the
fallacious.
advice
It's
that's given by the red pill community. Let's say, okay, hold your women accountable, right? Once you're top, use if you're providing them support, this they shouldn't be doing this, that, and that. Okay, I hear him. Okay, I'm gonna go hold my woman accountable, but I haven't made it yet. So I'm gonna go tell my woman that she can't go to the club, can't do this, she can't do that, but I'm not gonna provide her any support. I just expect her to sit
then
her
date
ass
a
in her
more
ass.
average guy. Then date a guy
But
that's
I'm talking about average guy or average men are the one that are doing that. That's the issue. That I there's this TikToker Drew.
I
His
don't
name
see
is
the
Drew
issue with
Offalo.
that. I really don't. What's the issue with having standards? You have to expand on that.
But
What's the
then
issue
I
with
can
that?
have standards as a woman. If you're gonna tell me as a man who is technically just standard and hasn't even followed through with the things that they want to follow through on, what I can and can't do, I'm literally gonna be like, who the fuck are you? Who
And
are you telling me to lose weight if you look the same damn thing as if you literally look just like me? I don't understand that part. But well,
that's not
they
related
listen
to
to
the
Andrew Tate.
that's
That is
definitely not
related
related to the that's not related
because
by
you're
the red
missing
pill
my
community.
argument. I'm not saying men who have made it can't have an
No, I see
opinion
what
on
you're
what
saying.
they
You're saying
do.
average. The problem is average guys are holding women accountable when they don't have shit yet. I don't see the issue with that. Why can't they have
And
standards?
so then, can women have theirs back? Okay,
Yeah, but you're probably gonna be
can
single with the guys you're looking
you hold
for.
each other accountable? Okay, if I'm gonna do this and you can't do
That
that,
the this is the problem. The people that girls want are top tier. You know that 80 to 90% of women sleep with around sleep with the top 10 to 20%. So the vast majority of women are fucking with the top tier guys anyway. So your argument's void. So yes, they're gonna have to adhere to the
no.
standards or go below
As
that
a woman,
go below that twenty
as
percent and date lower. But they don't want to do that. They
as a
want to stay.
woman,
Once they get a taste of that lifestyle, that's what women want. Anyway, they're not
as
gonna
a
be like,
woman
oh fuck
though,
this guy, I'm gonna go date a bum now. They're not gonna do that. They're gonna go look for another top tier guy and experience the same shit. So your
as
argument is
a
void because most women
no,
are dating top tier guys anyway. They're all fucking the same guy. That's essentially
as
what's
a
happening.
woman, I can tell you it is very easy for us to be able to be
Replace
able
top
to.
tier guys.
No, there's not a lot of top. The reality is there's not a lot of fucking Drakes and people out there at this point. Right? You're that I feel like the argument is getting
That proves
overlooked
my
of
point.
saying these average men just shut up and focus on what you need to do to become a top tier man.
Most average
I
men
were
don't get men don't get pussy anyway. You
so
know that
your solution. Go ahead.
men 18 to 30, a third of those guys are virgins. 30% of men are virgins. So your argument's void. That's not the general trend anyway. Average
Then
men are
you think
gross
that's
to these women.
because they're not holding people accountable. They're not telling women.
No,
But
they're single because women want hypergamy. They want the top guy, which proves that the replica community is helping men have a better chance of success. Get your money right, get your mind right, get your fitness right. That's going to raise your chance of becoming a more higher value man and rise your chances of finding a woman. That's the whole point. So I don't see how that's toxic. You haven't disproven that. You could
kind
try.
of have. But I mean, if
No, I
that's
don't think so. You haven't given me anything empirically to negate what
because
I've
it's
said.
not something I could sit here and quote every effed up thing if I did my own, if I
That's
went
all
and did that right
anecdotal
now.
anyway. That wouldn't
That's
disprove
not
it either
anecdotal.
way.
That's facts. That's fact. If I went
No,
and
a
quoted
quote is not
every
facts.
controversial thing,
A quote isn't
we're
facts.
but right. Where this for what I'm saying is Andrew Tate. Right? I keep bringing him up because that's the main one that I know. If I brought up some the most controversial things that he said, you're telling me that's not factual because it's a quote. He said it right. He's one of the main creatures of this community. If he's saying something to a man, I can't say that's toxic because
I
it's a
mean,
quote. Even
it could
that's even though
simply be you can
that's the
nitpick what he
advice, right?
says. You can
But
nitpick
that's
what he
the advice
says,
that
but
he's giving.
his whole premise is male self improvement. That's his overall
Exactly, and
message.
that's the advice that he's using to
No,
motivate
sometimes
a man.
not every statement that comes out his mouth is supposed to be taken as holy, and that's not his intention either.
I never said that either. I said at the beginning. I
Now,
said
that's
he
what you're
said some really
implying because you're trying to
no, but
nitpick
I
quotes.
said I said a little bit ago he's had made some really good statements to men about when it came to their finances. I even told you my person. I think that the way he speaks some of his arguments, they make sense, and he speaks it with he speaks on it like he knows what he's talking about. When it comes, what I'm saying, where it becomes toxic, the main thing that I think is toxic is the way that women are treated based off of it. Women,
Mm,
and it gives men this false sense of reality. Saying Jake Paul went on the podcast. One of the things that Andrew Tate said is a man hasn't made it if he doesn't own a Bugatti. That's just not
I
true.
mean, that's
That's
satire. That's
that's not
satire.
satire. That's what he
He's
said.
not being genuine there. He's an entertainer too.
But
He's not just a
how is a man
he's not a
supposed to know when?
priest.
But if we have a man who doesn't know when he is and when he's not genuine, if they
Any
really look
man
up
with
to,
common sense knows that's satire.
that's not true though. If
You
they
can be
really look
15
up to
years old,
somebody,
and a guy, if you watch a guy saying,
no,
"Oh, you're ain't shit unless you have a
no,
Lambo," he
at that
knows that the
age,
guy's kidding. He's not serious about that.
at that age, they lack a lot of common sense.
No, at 15, I
If
would be
they're
able to deduce that. It's not
But
hard
that's
to
you though,
fathom.
and I've told you
Most
before,
guys, most guys with a,
you're a lot more intelligent than the
or
average people that
if he's
your
saying
age.
girls can't drive, obviously if you're 14, 15, you know he's joking or he's using satire for entertainment purposes. That's not hard to deduce that.
No,
Only if you don't like
if you
him,
listen, I never
you
said I
take
didn't
it out
like
of
him.
context. That's
I never
why.
said I didn't like him. He's a person on the internet. I don't
You take it out of
dislike
context though.
anybody.
He's obviously being using
No,
satire.
that's
Yeah.
the for I can't even talk. My head hurts. What I'm saying is, I lost my train of thought. It is taken out of context a lot, and that's the biggest why it becomes toxic. He may have some, like I said, he may have some really freaking good
Mm.
messages
You know what's
that
the
have
funny
been
part? It's only taken
misconstrued.
out of context by people that don't like him. And
No,
that's their
no, no,
problem.
no. There are men out there
I've
who
never
take
seen a
that shit out
guy
of
go out here and
context.
saying, "Oh shit, man, I need a Bugatti to be somebody." I don't see people out here saying that because that's obviously supposed to be taken as satire.
That becomes a goal, though. It doesn't become something that they
Is
need.
that a bad
Oh,
goal? I
well,
don't see
in
anything
order for
wrong
me to
with trying to
be,
strive for a Bugatti. That's not a bad
but then
message.
saying you haven't made it if you don't make it to that point, what's
Again,
wrong with
he's
this
being
freaking nice ass
entertaining.
truck? What's wrong with that
Again, he's being
nice ass freaking
entertaining.
Range Rover?
You're taking it as
But
hyper literal. That's
there's
fallacious.
but as somebody who works right, my field, I work in the behavioral community. I do this for work. I teach people common sense, basic social cues. When are people sarcasm, right? A lot of people do not have it, and that's why I'm trying.
I
As
don't think
somebody who
that's
works in
correct,
that
empirically
is
speaking.
correct. As somebody
No.
who works in the field, these are actual lessons and programs that I run with
The
people
average
all the
adult
time.
has that ability.
And I can tell you right now, no, they don't, because with
We could
a
look it
lot of
up and see. We can see
I've
otherwise.
interacted with hundreds of people throughout
I
my
mean,
entire
there's billions of
years.
people on Earth.
Yeah, but
I
you just
doubt.
said I probably met well over hundreds and even probably 1,000 different parents and kids. You just said Fresh and Fit used 1,500 women. That's a good generalization. If I'm saying talking about parents, right, who are raising these kids, I'm going to them. The parents can't even tell when I'm not or joking. But their parents, people
That's
who've
a
brought
narrow
in the
parameter, though.
that's not
That's
an
not a
error
good
parameter because
survey.
you just said 1,500 women with Fresh and Fit podcast. That's also an error parameter.
So there's a variety.
1,500. Go ahead.
Anyone with common sense, no, that's not to be taken serious.
Common sense is
Most
not a
people have
common thing,
common
though,
sense.
unfortunately.
No,
And
it
believe it or not,
is.
common
It
sense is not a
is.
common thing. I
It
don't think it
is.
is.
We can look it up. It
Even
is.
women, I can say a lot of women don't have fucking common sense. I can
No,
sit there and
most
tell a woman,
people can tell what's for comedic purposes and what's to be taken serious. Anyway, this is a red herring because that's not his overall message anyway. So you haven't proven his message is toxic or the red pill community at large.
I did not. So, okay. Maybe I didn't word it right in the beginning of this debate. The reason why I claim that it's toxic
Hmm.
is because of the way people have taken that message and gone about and lived lives, right? Do I think it's right for someone to go online and say a woman is a possession? No, that's not right.
Who
And
says
if a
that
woman,
anyway? I don't see that.
Andrew Tate literally says that women are a possession.
No, he's
They
saying
are
it's your
his possession,
responsibility. That's what he says.
and he said the word possession before. He definitely has. I've heard it a couple times over a couple of things, which is why he's such a talked about name, which is why everybody wants to talk to him because they want his opinion on that. Why
Well, I
or
can
on
use
the
a
things that
rational
he says.
argument to negate that. He has a ton of women around him, and none of them have ever come forward to
Yeah,
suggest that. So obviously, he means that in a different context. He means they're his responsibility. Just by the way he
Because
lives, you can
that's a
you can
perfect
imply
example,
what he
right?
means.
He
You can
may not
imply what he
mean
means.
that. He may not mean that when he says it, right? It's his duty to protect. It's his duty to provide. But if you have a man who's super like, I fucking love this dude and I believe everything he says, who takes that message, right? Women are a
That's an outlier.
possession.
That's an
But
outlier though.
that's where I'm saying it becomes toxic though. I don't
But I
if a woman
disprove that's an
chooses to
outlier though.
stay if a woman chooses to stay knowing what she has is up for, that is 100% her decision, right? She can do whatever the fuck she want to do. She's an adult. She wants to do this. She
That's
wants to do
most
that.
women.
No, it's not. Oh, no, it's
Yeah, it
not.
is. So you're
I'm
telling
not
me
going to say,
men hold the door and don't let them out? I don't think that's true.
what are you talking about?
You're saying that most women aren't in that predicament, that they don't want to be there. They
I
choose to be there. That's not the man's fault. They can leave then. So you can't
No,
blame
I'm
the man
saying if
on,
they choose to be there, that's on them though.
which is most women.
That's so they can't sit there and be like, no, it's not most women. I can
It
guarantee most
is.
women don't want a man who goes out and goes talks to 30 different other women, but he loves her, right? He comes home to her, right? That to me. That's just not right. That's not morally right. And now it's more of
It's
a
not
moral
about
thing.
morality.
When you're married to somebody, that's the person that you decide to
It's
spend the
not about
rest of your life
morality. That's
with.
about reality. That's what it's
That's not
about.
morality. Morality when it comes to relationships and commitment, especially if you start to bring children in this world, that's what it has to be, right? If you want to, if that's the life that people want to live and people want to, I mean,
Yeah. Again, we're talking about idealistic fantasies.
that's
We're
not
living in
majority. I can
reality.
guarantee you, majority of women don't want a man that's going to cheat on them. That's just the reality is when you
Then
go out and sleep with
how
other
come
women.
80, okay, I can literally disprove this with statistic. Well, then why are 80 to 90% of women chasing top 10 to 20% of men if that's the case? If they don't want to be cheated on.
And then you're making this assumption that the top 10 to 20 are going to cheat on them.
Yeah, they are. Cuz top tier guys do
Based
that.
on what though? Based on what?
Based on empirical and observational evidence since the beginning of time. That's all I need. Kings, presidents, governmental leaders, entertainers, warlords. That's all I need. And all the women gravitate towards them. All of them. Most of them. 80 to 90% in today's world go for top 20 to 10% of men. Why is that? If they don't want to be cheated on, why go after them? It's because they want the top guy. And they put up with it. That's the reality. Most girls put up with it when they're dealing with that caliber of a man. So your claim has been proven wrong.
Okay. I hear you.
Yeah.
I
So
have no many more. I have no more to come back at you with then.
so do you concede, or you just want to do conclusions and you don't have you rather keep your pride and not concede?
I'll go to conclusions.
Okay, you want to go first, or you want me to give mine first?
And you can go first.
All right. So in conclusion, to sum it all up, because we went on several tangents that I allowed, even though they were red herrings.
No, that's not true.
We did. There was a lot of red herring, and you really didn't prove the specific narrow topic. Actually, it wasn't narrow, but the question was narrow. So the red pill community is a paradigm of life which gives a pragmatic and practical way of living your life from many aspects, from financial to physical to confidence-wise, so mental. And statistically speaking, it rises your chances of success. And you can basically see that if you have any kind of rational deduction ability. You go to the gym, you're going to get in shape. Women like guys in shape that are strong and dominant. If you get rich, that's looked at as something that only masculine people can achieve. Women are going to see that as a desirable trait. If you have confidence, women will see you in that light. That's another one that raises your chances statistically speaking. Why? Because that's what women want, biologically speaking. Whether they bullshit that they don't want it, or they do want it, that's what they want biologically speaking, as evident by the empirical evidence that's presented to us. 80 to 90% of women want the top 10 to 20% of guys. That's why marriage rates are so low, because they don't want a fucking average guy. They all talk about, well, these guys cheat on me, then date an average guy. But you don't want to do that, do you? So stop complaining. That's your own prerogative. So the red pill community, again, is a paradigm that's practical and pragmatic, and it makes your life better. And my opponent used fallacies throughout the whole time. Red herrings, nirvana fallacies, appeal to emotion, appeal to ignorance, etc. to try and paint this canvas based on how those people feel that think it's toxic. doesn't work. It's not logically sound, not even logically valid, I'd argue. So that's why I think I have triumphed in this debate. So that's my conclusion.
So my conclusion is that while the red pill community does have some good ways to motivate men in regards to mental health, finances, fitness, education, even at some points, um, I claim it to be toxic because when those messages are broadcasted with good intentions and pure intentions, specifically towards men, um, men who men have taken that message, skewed it, maybe turned it around, and broadcasted that message out to the world, and it now has become a divide between men and women. There is this constant battle between, I'm better than you as a man, so therefore I can talk to you the way I want to. I can tell you what to do. And with this uprising kind of, not what I guess I could say feminist, advocacy saying, hey, you need to stand up for yourself. You don't deserve that. There has become this clear divide between men and women, and specifically when it comes to um, uh, relationships, love, finding people who you want to be committed to. It has become very, very difficult for both people. Maybe more men because men are the ones pushing those agendas, and women are like, I choose not to deal with that. But I think when the message is being split, it becomes toxic. That's any message, any advice, anything that's preached. If you're going to preach something, preach it for what it actually is. If it's going to be me, a man going out preaching to another man, saying, "Hey, I'm going to show you how to make 100K," you stick to that and you preach that same message if you choose to. It's not, "Hey, I'm going to teach you how to make 100K," and that man goes out and saying, "Hey, if you don't make 100K, you ain't shit." So that is my biggest reason if about the red pill community being toxic is the amount of the skewed messages that have been broadcasted from pure messages have caused toxicity amongst men and women. So yeah.
All right. There's a debate, folks. That's the conclusions completed. So we hope you guys enjoyed it. And I think it was also a debate that was an interesting conversation anyway. So some people might look at this as a interesting discussion as well. I mean, it was a debate as well. So of course, let us know who you think wins the debate. Fruitful discussion. Again, let us know who you thought won the debate. We hope you guys enjoyed that one, folks.
If Jay goes missing, just know I didn't do
Yeah. But try to be more debates in the future, folks. We hope you guys enjoyed that. Leave your thoughts as well on this topic in general. What do you think? Let me know. We're curious on that as well. And peace out, folks. Catch you on the flip side.
Have a good night.